Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to set up the Canon R6 Mark III, but this also works on the new Canon R6V. So first and foremost, before you start setting up your camera, attach your lens that has the lowest f-stop. And then let's see, after turning the camera into video mode and then you are on the manual settings, I always start setting up the camera. The first thing I can tell already that the camera has a much easier menu than the Sony. After using this for a few weeks, you can really get used to it. So I usually shoot on 4K D, because I'm in Europe, I will leave it to 25 frames per sec. I would recommend to choose the AVC 10-bit, 422 10-bit. It creates larger files. So I'm not gonna touch RAW now, because if you are shooting RAW, you need to have a CF Express Type D card. You need to get a card like this. So basically half terabyte is enough for about 35-40 minutes of recording. So it just creates really big files. Most of the time you just don't need that. So if you go back, you can see it's 150 megabyte per sec, but it will be still considerably a better image quality. So I usually shoot in these settings. Movie cropping, I keep it disabled, but if you turn this on, then it will shoot in a proper format. So I'll just leave it movie cropping disabled. And maybe you have to zoom in post-production sometimes, but sometimes I change from RAW and whatever I'm going to shoot, so I just keep it as it is. So I keep this disabled, and then next, sound recording on. And audio format, here you can decide whether you're gonna shoot in 16-bit and then you will have 2 channels, or you can shoot 24-bit with 4 channels. Now, most of the scenario, I'm not using 4 channels, so I would just say to keep in mind that you can change that, because 4 channels are, in most scenarios, is a bit annoying for me to edit, so I will keep this in 2 channels. Built-in microphone, recording mode, I will set this up to manual. And usually what really worked for me, recording level, if I was using it with the DJI mic, I kept it on around 32 and 36, so somewhere here. 47 was clipping, so I would put around here 30, 32. But you can change this, you can adjust it when you have the microphone and you will see, but as by default, I would just keep it here in the middle. Wind filter, you can keep this on for now. And audio noise reduction, I would put disable, because I don't want any noise reduction done in the camera. So I will just disable this and then go back to the menu. And here you can just check the channels. Exposure, so ISO speed settings, I don't do much about this one, I just keep as it is. For color mode, I go to CP1. If you press info, then you can go to the file, and here is Canon R6 709. I tested C-Log 2 and C-Log 3 as well. For me, C-Log 3 seemed better, so I will stick to C-Log 3. And then back to menu. Next, white balance settings. So I just changed this white balance to 5200, or you can change it to 5000. Here we can turn on pre-recording. If you turn this on, you can choose whether you're gonna pre-record 3 seconds or 5 seconds. It really depends on, if I shoot an event, I would recommend to turn this on, at least for the 3-second one. By default, I don't need the pre-recording, because I use now my Canon most indoors, and by indoors I mean studio recording, so I will keep this off for now. And movie self timer, I keep it off. We can go to the next one. Here I will just keep Zebra 1, and Zebra 1 I would put in 95. I personally use 95 on the Sony, so I will keep this on as well. Now for Zebra, usually I set up the camera so I can turn on and off the Zebra quickly with the custom button. But for now I will turn on everything, and then with the custom buttons we can disable them basically. Shooting info display, grid display. If you want a display, I would use the 3x3 and histogram. I think I will just keep it as it is. And then we can go to the next one. And auto power of temperature. So this I would recommend you to turn to high. This will just warn you that, you know, the camera and the SD card could get really hot. I would say keep this high. There is a standby low resolution. I don't mind, I keep this on. Shutdown warning guidance. Yes, let's keep that on. And then we can go to the next one. So focus mode, I will detect priority. Yeah, I keep this like this. Focus area. I kept focus area in whole area autofocus. I think this worked really well, so I'll keep it as it is. Subject to detect. So here you can set this up to auto or people, animals, vehicles, or none. Now again, I think by default you can keep this auto or people depending on what you're shooting. Just to be aware that you can change this here. Let's keep this auto now. Eye detection, yes. Here you can register people. So for instance, if you're shooting any vlog, you can register yourself and basically your camera will recognize you and basically focus on you. I'm not gonna do that, but actually this is useful, especially if you're doing any shooting outdoors, which I do a lot. And then the sensitivity of subject switching, I would keep it on 3 as well, just in the middle. So the autofocus speed, you can keep it super fast or very slow. I would keep it in the middle 5 for now. In some cases you can change this as well up and down, but I think 5 or 6 is fine. Maybe I will keep it on 6, yeah. I don't change anything in file operation, image copy, no. Resize, I don't change anything here. And you can also move to the next one. Here you can decide to connect your phone to your camera, which I'm not gonna do it right now, but basically if you wanna update the firmware or anything, then I would recommend to connect it. Now you can decide whether you're gonna use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth settings on the camera. If not, I would recommend to switch this off just to save some battery. And here you can rename your camera. And then you can save and load settings on the card, which I will do at the end of the video so I can share it with you. Here you can format the SD card, which will be very useful, but I'm not gonna format the SD card right now. Okay, here you can set up the country and data and language and system frequencies. So if you are in Europe, most of Europe has PAL, and if you go to United States or Korea, then you will change to NTSC. So because I'm in Europe right now, I will use PAL for this one. This helps to prevent, you know, the screen flickerings and light flickerings, especially indoors. So I would recommend to set this up correctly. And then audio settings, I just leave it as it is. Screen brightness. So here you can set up the brightness of your screen. Is by default is 4. I would set this up to 6 because I'm shooting outdoors quite a lot. Viewfinder brightness, I don't use viewfinder, so it doesn't matter. Now I recommend you to turn this off. So by default the camera, when you switch it off and on, it will close the shutter, which is kind of good because it protects the sensor. But again, if you have any issue with the shutter, then you're not gonna be able to shoot. So to be honest, I would rather keep this open than having an issue to, let's say, your shutter stucks there and then you're not gonna be able to shoot. Power saving, I would change the screen dimmer to 15 seconds and auto power off is, let's say, 1 minute, because quite annoying. And screen off could be 1 minute as well, or basically maybe disable, yeah, like this. Here we can reset the camera, and on custom shooting mode you can save and load custom settings on the card. If you go to the battery info, you can see how many times it was charged, how is the performance, and currently the percentage of the battery, which is really good to know sometimes. To set the camera up by default, I'm usually shooting 25 frames per sec, so I will just double the frame rate to 50, and then I will lower the f-stop to the lowest as possible, so I will keep it on f1.8. So for C-Lux, your base ISO is actually 800. As you can see, if you go lower than that, it will just pop up an L, which is meaning a low. Most important thing happens in the custom settings. Go to custom dials and ring. Here you can set up your camera as it should be. So for me, this one should be aperture. On the Sony camera, I use the front for aperture. So this is the closest to the front, so I just change this to aperture. And for me, this is the ISO. So as a Sony shooter, I just got used to using this dial for ISO. And this one I use in the Sony for Kelvin, which I think works really, really well. And then this one I can keep it as it is. So now I can control aperture, Kelvin, ISO. Now my customized dials, these are really aligned to my Sony camera as well. For me, it's the most important because I'm using the Sony and the Canon as well, that it should be very similar in terms of the way it's set it up. I changed these settings on the Sony as well. So if you press the shutter button, like you press it properly, then you start recording. Now the Canon has the recording button here, really close to that, so it's not too difficult to press either this and that, but I like a double chance to press it, so I use it this way. Here is the more interesting part where you can set up for customization. So the left side is for photo shooting, as you can see, and the right side, this one is for video. Photo and video custom buttons right next to each other. If you change this to AF stop, it will basically hold the focus. So when you are shooting autofocus, press this and it will lock on the focus. So basically it turns into manual focus until you are holding it. I think this is really useful. So I think this is the best location for this button. I will change this to, okay, zebra. I set zebra for color or rate. All right, so here when you go to custom shooting mode, you select this one, and then you can register the settings. So basically everything you set up, you can register under C1, C2 or C3. I will select the first one to C1. And basically on the Canon, what I don't register C1 for 25 frames per second, and C2 for 50, and C3 for slow motion. What I would rather do, I register for C1 for 25 frames per second, and then C2 for RAW recording or open gate. What I would make a big difference is not the frame rates, is rather the style basically. So if I'm shooting open gate RAW, then I register it under C2. One thing is very important when you register any settings, to change this auto update set to enable or disable, and I'm going to show you why. So for instance, now I'm shooting in this scenario, I change this to 5.6 and maybe my ISO is 2000. But if I take out my SD card, the camera switches off. Let's say I swap the SD card, I turn it back on, and after turning back it on, it will go back to the original C settings, which could be really annoying because if you are using any C settings on the Sony, it will remember the last settings you have done, you know, up until the point you change from C1 to C2 or whatever, it will record and it will remember the last changes. So every time you turn on and off the camera, even if you change SD card, it doesn't turn on and off, but it will not change the settings. If you go to custom shooting mode here, then auto update set and enable it. This will always update the latest settings on your C1 or C2 or C, whatever you are using. So that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions regarding this camera, leave a comment below and see you in the next one.